Hey everybody, come on and ride a WAV with me. Welcome to Respawn Aim Fire, the kick-ass, irreverent gaming podcast from Raffle Idiots. I'm one of your hosts, riding the WAV Gumbert, Adam riding the RAF Gumbert, or is it Gumby? I don't know, John. And today we got with us, he's Johnny Tsunami's cousin.
What? I'm gonna throw up! I'm gonna boat! How do I keep it down?
You know what's crazy? So, Johnny Tsunami, a classic Disney Channel original movie.
I'm not gonna
correct?
lie, I'm gonna have to Google Johnny Tsunami right now.
Oh man, I believe it's a Disney Channel original movie. There was a time when,
that was before we had Disney Channel.
Okay. There was a time when Disney Channel was just like, fuck Disney Plus, that's 20 years in the future. Why don't we release original content for fucking preteens? And there was I mean, Jed, you can look it up. I think there's like 30 Disney Channel original movies, right?
There's a bunch.
And
yeah.
I just looked on Disney Plus the other day because I was watching Andor or whatever. And at the top, at first, you know how at the very top, it's like got the slides of like the new stuff on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Number one's like Hocus Pocus 2, and then number 2 is like Andor, new episode, She-Hulk, new episode. And then like the fourth or fifth one over, it was Under Wraps 2. And I believe Under Wraps was the first ever Disney Channel original movie, and they just made a sequel for it on Disney Plus. I'm sure it's awful, and I'm very interested in it. It's funny looking at the cast list for those old Disney Channel original movies. I'm like, none of these people are familiar. None of these actors have familiar names whatsoever. But we're not here to talk about Disney.
There is a Disney. So there's Johnny Tsunami, came out in 1999. In 2007, this kid has not aged a fucking day. But in 2007. There's Johnny Kapahala back on board, and it looks like an off-road skateboarding thing rather than a surfing thing.
Oh.
Yeah. And this kid literally looks the exact same age.
Exact same kid. Yeah.
Yep.
They just froze him whenever they need him for a new Disney Channel original movie.
Yes.
He's been in the crowd.
He says pee pee poo pee in the chat.
Why is that always Smitty's thing?
He just knows how to get me. Just pee pee and poopy as a grown-up saying those things are just funny.
It's very funny. You can catch us live on twitch.tv/AffleBidiots Sunday evenings, 8:30 Eastern Time. Come check us out. We're about to make affiliate. YouTube and podcast services Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Chad's cracking a Mountain Dew. Upcoming on today's show, we got a lot of Sony news. Does Monster Hunter have competition? And is Adam going to spend less than 3 minutes on that story? We'll see when we get there. But the main quest... This is the last time we'll ever speak its name on this podcast. Never again, Chad. You're not allowed to.
Well, what if it's as part of a joke? Zing! Every time you mention Stadia, it's part of a joke.
Absolutely. Stadia is dead. This is from multiple stories at IGN.com. Google has announced it's winding down its Stadia video game streaming service, and it will shut down on January 18th, 2023.
You said Stadia video game, which is how I want us to know. I want us to say it's Stadia.
It's Stadia, Stadia, whatever you want to call it. Vigigame is definitely a Hank Hill thing. But yeah, Stadia, whatever. This Google thing is shutting down January 18th. Stewart. In a new blog, Google revealed that Stadia, quote unquote, hasn't gained the traction with users that we expected. And as a result, the company has made the, quote, difficult decision to begin winding down the service. I love how difficult is a quote, by the way. Quote, we're grateful to the dedicated Stadia players that have been with us from the start. We will be refunding all Stadia hardware purchases made through the Google Store and all game and add-on content purchases made through the Stadia Store. Before I continue, because there's more and more to the story, of course, it's the longest story of the day. I mean, at the top, Shad, are you all right? Are you okay?
I don't know if I'm ever going to financially recover from this. This is, I tweeted it the morning that the news came out, but we always joked and we always were saying Google's going to drop it. It's not going to last. No one's supporting it. And then when it finally did go under, I was still just like so flabbergasted. I was like, what? They were going to be the next, there was the big 3 consoles, and then there was now going to be a 4. There was going to be Stadia, and it was going to be there whether or not people used it. And I have to admit, they had convinced me with all of I forget what company, maybe it's The Verge or somebody was like, all the times Google said, no, really, we're going to support this thing. And it was like detailing every single time they said it every few months. And they convinced me that they were going to support it for quite a while, and I was still surprised as hell whenever it came.
Yeah, it was kind of because that was the whole thing. It was like, hey, Google doesn't stick with stuff if it doesn't work. But it's been a couple years that it's been out. I do like how everyone's getting refunds for everything. Like, that's great, because I would hate to have like bought in on it and they're like, actually, and you're done.
And they're not only refunding software purchases. So if you bought a game on Stadia, you're getting that full money back. If you bought an expansion on Stadia, you're getting your full money back. If you bought any hardware through Google, like any of the Founders controllers, the Google Chromecast, whatever, to play it, like all of that's being refunded, which is like all of their profit. Any profit that they made, with the exception of the Google Stadia Pro subscriptions, are going back to the customer. So they literally made zero money, at least, and lost a ton of money on this project, which is cool. That's consumer friendly, but it is wild. Google has that kind of money. They can be just like, oh yeah, this one thing we didn't work, so we'll just waste a couple jillion billion dollars. Excuse me.
I do like. I don't remember who said at this point, but Amazon also used to do the same thing. They would just throw money at shit and didn't care if it failed, because like, we're just going to see. Because remember, everyone, Fire phones. Remember Amazon had their own fucking smartphones?
And they had like 4 cameras on the front so they could do this like weird 3D thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and they went all in, and they were like, hey, these didn't sell. And they just sold them on Amazon on a winter sale for $2 a piece. And they were like, all right, it's cool. And they just moved on.
Now you can get a 6-pack of Kindle Fire tablets in a Happy Meal box.
Yo, I literally bought a Fire tablet once. I was going to just give it to my kid when he was much younger. And they gave me, I ordered one and they gave me 2 in the package. And they said, just keep it. They didn't want it back. I said, keep it. I'm not joking. I am not joking.
One of them was the packaging material to keep the other one safe.
Yeah. Just to like, it was the phone basically. I will say, I'm glad that Stadia was a thing, that they build up some technology, because other companies, Microsoft, Nvidia, Logitech was making that tablet at some point. So I like that the technology gets to keep living. It's not like it was all Google, and once Google cut it off, it's dead. Because I still think there's potential, but you just kind of need more time. Kind of like with VR. It was like if the first VR headset was the only one that ever existed, like we wouldn't have multiple. Yeah, and it wouldn't keep getting better.
I tweeted out from our RAF account the day that this all happened. It was like, Stadia is dead, long live Stadia, and it was a picture of the Stadia controller and Microsoft Xbox game streaming. And I was to that exact point, like, I don't believe that xCloud and game streaming would have come along as quickly or in its current form without the pressure from Stadia being there first. And I don't know, whatever is Luna even doing well? I don't know. Luna's existence, whether or not it's doing well or good or making money or anyone's playing it doesn't matter. It's there and it's pushing people. So yeah, I'm glad that they released in the half-assed effort that they did, even if Google themselves didn't succeed in that space.
Yeah. Next part of the story, companies are trying to help out those who are affected. All 8,000 of you who played Destiny, they're trying to help you out here. Ubisoft, Bungie, and others are working on letting players transfer Google Stadia saves. After the unexpected shutdown of Google Stadia, developers from across the industry are trying to help players by allowing them to transfer game saves over their platforms. This is a quote from Ubisoft. While Stadia will shut down on January 18th, we're happy to share that we've been working to bring the games you own on Stadia to PC through Ubisoft Connect. We'll have more to share regarding specific details, as well as the impact for Ubi Plus subscribers at a later date. Next, from Bungie, those guys who make a little video game called Destiny that Chad's never played. We just learned about Stadia shutting down and have begun conversations about next steps for our players. We will announce and send out information regarding Destiny 2 Stadia accounts once we have a plan of action. That's what I'm calling it for now. I don't care. Hitman developer IO Interactive also said, to all our Hitman fans on Google Stadia, we hear you. We are working into ways for you to continue your Hitman experience on other platforms. So, one thing here, cool, of course, that they're putting your saves over and trying to help your save data for those of you who played over there. But is it... Oh, yeah, the Bungie specific one. We just learned about Stadia shutting down and begun conversations. Nobody knew, huh? Nobody knew. This was the game that they literally advertised Stadia with. It was like, you can play fucking Destiny anywhere.
Yeah, and everyone got it free. Like, that was the first free game you got on Stadia when it launched. I cannot tell you how many indie game developers I saw on Twitter when this news came out. They're like, the store shut down on September 29th. You cannot submit anything new. And our game is supposed to release on it next week or next month. Or we were going to release the beginning of 2023. And they never said anything. And we're learning about it the same way everyone else is from this Verge article. And I went back and forth that whole morning thinking like, wow, it's a really shitty thing to do to their developers. I can't believe they didn't tell people earlier. And then I thought to myself, well, if they told developers earlier, 100% chance it's going to leak, that the service is shutting down before they have all the answers figured out for all the questions that people are going to have. So, like, I kind of get the fact that they didn't want to say anything until they knew all the answers to these questions. But it's it's a shitty situation. I'm glad that these companies are working on figuring out a way to move this stuff, because when they first announced that morning, I was like, I was feeling terrible for all these people who played these games on Stadia, and their saves, their progress, their in-app purchases, all that kind of shit is now forever gone. And there's no way to export it and play it anywhere else. If you got 90 hours into Assassin's Creed Odyssey and you never beat it, and now you have no chance to finish that, and that's the kind of shit that I was like, I can't believe this is going to happen. So the fact that these companies are working to figure out how that's going to transfer over is really cool. I hate that it's a studio by studio decision. Like, there's not a way that Google Stadia is like, hey, we've partnered with Steam to make sure that your ownership transfers over to a PC client, or that your saves are compatible with Epic Game Store or Steam, and you have the choice of whichever. Like, that, I think, is the better way to go, is like a fully supported solution elsewhere. But it also leaves like this gray area of, now you have to figure out how this is logistically going to work. If Google is refunding all game purchases, but Ubisoft's offering the ability to move your game to Ubisoft Connect on PC, like, does Google know how to do that? Is Google going to just flat out refund everything, and then suddenly you get a free game over on PC, which is dope? That'd be awesome. Or is Google going to refund everything but the Ubisoft games, and then all of your Ubisoft games are now on PC, whether or not you have a PC to do that with? So now it's going to take a one-size-fits-all refund solution and now make it much more complicated. Because maybe some people want the refund and they don't want it on PC. Maybe some people do want everything on PCs. Maybe some people want to refund things and PC others, and who knows. But yeah, it's made things a lot more difficult and a lot more confusing now. But and it sucks that the developers are the ones that are having to figure this out and not Google, which sucks.
Yeah. Last bit of news, Kojima. Something was going to happen with Stadia. It's not going to happen now, but we'll see. Funny how he really is into cloud technology. Huh? He's mentioned that with the Xbox thing too. He's like, I really like this cloud stuff.
I think he is. Right. Hideo Kojima is the cloud. Every time we've ever seen him, it's been a while since we've seen him in person on stage somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. He's always calling in.
It's always
video
him in
stream.
an office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kojima's not real.
Nope.
Put it out there. Not a real person. Hideo Kojima was reportedly working on a follow-up to Death Stranding that was meant to be exclusive for Google Stadia. However, it was apparently canceled due to its single-player nature. According to a report by 9to5 Google, the next Death Stranding, there's no word whether it was a sequel, spin-off, prequel, whatever, would not have had the first game's collaborative and asynchronous multiplayer features, such as building bridges in your world that show up in other players' worlds. So it's just going to be kind of its own different thing, but still be Death Stranding in that world. This is reportedly the basis for Google's decision to cancel the game, as the company believed that a solo experience wouldn't sell very well. The game was reportedly in early development as Google greenlit the project, but when the company was shown mock-ups in 2020, the project was... My brain just died. What is this word?
Subsequently,
Jesus Christ. God, I'm having an aneurysm. The project was canceled. The final decision was reportedly made by Stadia general manager Phil Harrison. Everyone pay attention to this name, Phil Harrison. A lot of interesting stuff about that guy.
Notoriously not a gamer.
Yeah, notoriously is at the head of every company when it fails. He got a chance at Sony, got a chance at Microsoft, got a chance at Google Stadia. That man's still getting work because he's a corporate dude who makes money. That's all that matters.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Kojima was going to do something with Death Stranding. Was going to be exclusive to Google Stadia, so I guess Sony does not own that IP. But it got canceled in 2020 because because they were like, we don't want this. But yeah, that's all the Stadia news. Unless you have anything to say about Death Stranding.
No. What do you think? What could Google have done differently that wouldn't have ended up in this situation?
I don't know, to be honest with you, because I feel like they did good enough at marketing, I suppose. Like, we all know what Stadia is. Unlike Luna, people are like, I think that's a thing. I don't fucking know how to activate it.
Yeah.
Stadia, especially at the very beginning with the Founders Pack and all that, Stadia was very aware, like, here's a thing.
Yeah.
But just, I mean, they just got to stick with stuff. Like, as it went on, like, remember they had Jade Raymond was there, and they had all these teams to make original games, and then all that went away slowly, and it's like, you could see it coming, but the problem is that Google would have to treat it like a video game business and not like an electronics tech business.
Yeah.
And I guess the timelines for those are a little bit different because, we know games take 4 or 5 years to make like a AAA game. And they were just launching a platform and trying to get games on it. And then I don't know how long Stadia's been out. Maybe that's 2 or 3 years. They're like, actually, we're good. Because again, in tech, like I said, Amazon made those phones and 6 months later, they're like, all right, we're done with that. And they moved on to the next thing. So I just feel like tech doesn't move at the same pace as video games. So they would have had to treat it differently, which I don't think. That's why I was like, if it was between Google or Microsoft buying Activision, I'd rather fucking have Microsoft do it, because at least they'll use it and put games on Game Pass, and Google will fucking cancel Activision. So, yeah, I don't think there's much that could have been done.
I feel like it was probably like, in order for it to take off and stick around, it needs to be someone's primary way of gaming. And I feel like in its current form, it could not be that. One, because the games just weren't there. And when they did, like, it was years after release for some things, if they ever made it to Stadia at all. Or like, I think it was Borderlands 3 came out like a year and a half after it launched everywhere else. And it just didn't, for me, every single time that I tried to use it, it just didn't run well enough for it to be a primary system. And you can't rely on it in terms of like, oh, I can't wait to play my next AAA release on Google Stadia, because who knows if it's going to be there when you want it to be. So I think that's the problem, is that there was nothing on it that was exclusive to it that was worth playing, at least. Or enough big things that were there day and date with everything else so that it could feasibly be your primary gaming device. It was always cool, I'll play this if I am out somewhere and I need a way to connect to it. But the problem with that was it is a completely separate library with separate save files. And I think that part of the success of Steam Deck, which is it's a slightly different animal here, it's still focused on portable gaming, but part of the success of Steam Deck is like, you don't have to buy those games again. It is your PC library. It is you play it in one place at home. You take your Steam Deck, your save files are with you. It's the same experience on the go, just in a smaller form factor. Whereas Google
same thing for xCloud. It syncs your saves and doesn't matter. It's all there.
Same thing with xCloud. Whereas Google is like, hey, we can be your on-the-go solution, except you have to pay full price for this game again.
That was always bothered me.
Yep.
Having to pay full price for streaming variety. I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, rest in peace, Stadia. You're gone forever. We'll never talk about you again, unless it's a joke and I say the name Stadia instead of Stadia. But next up, hey, Chad. Ride it. Come on and jump the wave, the wav and ride it. Is that a song?
Come on, choo-choo, ride it. Come on, ride the train, the choo-choo. That one. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
I don't know why I'm trying to bring wave into it or wav, because that's not in that song at all. So I'm talking about some playtime. Chad. Oh, real funny, because I looked at your shirt. Chad, for the people not watching video.
Yeah.
I don't even care what's on it. I saw the colors red, and then there was yellow on it. And then I was talking about choo-choo trains, which reminded me of Happy Meals. Do you see they have adult Happy Meals for the month of October?
I did see that, and they have creepy versions of the McDonald's characters as your toys.
They all have 8 eyes apiece or whatever. It's fucking wild.
It was a glitch on the photo, and I was like, no, they all have way too many eyeballs.
Yeah, really cool. Everyone get your McDonald's Happy Meal toys. But speaking of toys, what'd you play with, Chad?
It has been a couple of weeks since I played Destiny 2. This is my Destiny Solstice shirt. It's peach and yellow this year for the solstice. Goes with my yellow watch band. I played Destiny 2, caught back up. It had been 2 weeks, and I was like, I'm itching to do some shit. So basically, I just jump on and do like 2.5, 3 weeks worth of story missions and running those pirate catch crash, doing all those shit. Yeah, did it all in like a stretch of like 5 hours yesterday. Felt good. Yeah.
You back in?
What?
You back in? You like back on the?
Yeah, back in now. Back
on the
in,
drug?
For sure. Yep. We're already talking about how to get back together to raid next weekend, so feeling good. And then laid on the couch and played some Zelda 2 and
Zelda
wanted to pull
2.
my hair out. So
I thought it was Zaddy 2.
Zatarans 2.
Zatarans. So you pulled your hair out. Yeah. Oh, so we probably have similar feelings about this video game, huh?
Yeah. I got to so foreshadowing. We're gonna have a full barf discussion about this game, which I think is worth listening to, whether or not you've played the game. We're gonna have a full barf discussion in the next couple of days here, me, Adam, and Cozy. But this game is constantly on Switch when you're playing the Nintendo Switch Online Virtual Surface. You press and hold the left and right trigger, or LZ and RZ.
Yeah, see,
and that allows you to like go back frame by frame and undo something that just happened to you. And that is 90% of me playing this game is holding those triggers and going back and doing shit. And I messaged Cozy in our group chat and I was like, Cozy, I only have one more temple to go. Like, is it worth doing this last dungeon? So we'll talk about that in a couple days. But that's it. That's all I played this week. Not much.
Good stuff. As for me, a little more Red Dead 2 because I'm just rooting and tooting and shooting cowboys. You know how it is.
Yeah.
In these streets. I'm really just sitting here waiting for this video to process because I will live react to this video if it processes in time, by the way.
Are you talking about the D&D video?
Your D&D video, yes. So I haven't had a chance yet. I'm very excited.
It's so perfect.
But as for me, I played some new things.
Yeah.
TK right here, right?
TK.
Here's what I did. I was like,
that's Ness.
That's PK.
Oh, it's PK. You're right.
Yeah, pyrokinesis.
Wasn't there someone on TK? Was that the little brother on Digimon?
I think so.
And he had the little bat Digimon.
Yeah,
I think that's him.
That was the shitty little brother.
That was the kid I always like. That's me. I identified with that kid, but I always wanted to be Ty, the kid with the goggles on his head.
Well, the guy with the goggles is the coolest kid.
Yeah, TK.
He was fucking awesome.
Yep,
but TK was you.
Takeru Takaishi.
Not American name at all.
Nope. Yeah, anyone with goggles on their face was automatically the coolest kid in the whole freaking world to me. I was like, I want to have goggles. Why can't I have goggles?
You know that original series of Digimon, I believe the bad guy was a fucking vampire Digimon. Remember that? That big, tall, slender motherfucker?
I don't know if I ever got to the end of that.
Yeah. He's a fucking vampire.
Slender
Anyways,
Man?
No, that's not him. TK, I was going through my list. I'm like, all right, I'm going to start getting ready for Game of the Year, especially Indie Game of the Year stuff, because, you know, that's normally a little quicker games to get through. So I started playing a little game called Tinykin, and I heard about it. It's on Game Pass, but I heard about it. Everyone's like, that's very good. It's a very good indie game. And I was like, all right, I'll try it out, I guess. It is basically Pikmin if Pikmin was good.
Ouch.
No, I think Pikmin's good. My problem with Pikmin, there's any game that does this when they put a timer on shit, where it's like, you only got 28 days, and you can only play 20 minutes at a time before the day ends. I hate stuff with timers. I couldn't play Dead Rising because of that. Fucking, there's a lot of games I can't play because I don't like timers. But Tinykin, first of all, great art style. All the characters are like 2D, like Paper Mario kind of art, and then you're like in a big 3D environment.
I'm looking at screenshots. It's like, it's like it looks like an It Takes Two style world, like 3D world, and you're like these little things going around desk, but you are like Cartoon Network style cartoons in it, 2D cartoons. It's wild.
And you pick up the Tinykin, and they have different abilities. And unlike Pikmin, where like you gotta whistle at them to follow you, no, they're just always with you. And whenever you need to use them, it's normally like you aim and then throw them at a thing, and they're just there. You don't have to manage them. You don't have to worry about them getting eaten by big frogs or whatever. You just get to do a platform puzzles and have a fun time, and your little buddies are there the whole time, and it's great. It's wonderful. I was very happy I played it. I beat the first level. Well, I guess, yeah, the first world. And I had a really good time. So I think Tinykin should be on that indie game of the year list for sure. It's very good and very polished.
Xbox Game Pass? Question mark?
It is on Game Pass, yes.
Sweet.
Which always helps out. And then MS2. I've
Mystery
had this game
Science Theater 2000.
Oh, you're very close. I've had this game installed on my Xbox for fucking a year and a half. It got delisted, and I was like, I even have it installed then. Fucking Metal Gear Solid 2. I was like, I'm going to try it. People like it. People think this game is good. I'm going to give it another try. And I got to the opening credits and turned it off. I was not in the mood for this because that game starts and it's like explains the story and I'm like, yeah, I know you play as Raiden, da 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 da. And then it comes in and it's like they have all the voice actors' names as if it's like the opening credits of a movie because it's like Kojima wants to make movies instead of video games. And then I saw the graphics and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Even though this is the remastered version, this is some fucking PS2 fucking bullshit. And I was like, I'll do this later when I'm in a better headspace. So I have started Metal Gear Solid 2. I will try to get past the credits next time. I promise.
It's what I don't enjoy about that game specifically. I don't mind playing as Raiden, that's fine. What I don't enjoy about that game specifically is like you're on the tanker, not the tanker. What's the oil rig in the middle of the ocean? Like you are in that confined space and you're just going from like platform to platform and backtracking. Whereas like all the other, like you're at this giant base in Metal Gear Solid 1. You're out in this big facility exploring the outdoors and all that kind of stuff in Metal Gear Solid 3. Whereas like I felt so confined in Metal Gear Solid 2.
See, the remaster has 2 and 3, but I was told, again, people trying to explain the story is ridiculous, whatever. But they said, just play it in release order. I'm like, that's really how I do stuff anyways. I go release order instead of chronological. So I'm like, 3 is on this collection, but I'm going to start with 2. And I remember playing the demo for 2, being on the tanker and all that stuff. But it's just like, I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, this game looks old. And then in the opening credits, someone did something very, very anime. And I was like, oh, God, that's right. So I'll get back to that eventually. I've got Tinykin to play. So, I'll just do that instead.
It is more bearable on PlayStation Vita and feels more at home on PlayStation Vita. A little tiny handheld in your hands. And if you have a PlayStation Vita and a PS3, you can use Kojima's stupid named transferring feature. And you can transfer your platinum trophy from your Vita, transfer the save over to PS3, pop another platinum trophy for the same game.
Because I would love to platinum that video game. That's what I want to do with my time.
No, Metal Gear Solid 2 Platinum is awful because you have to play it on every single difficulty and get everyone's dog tags. So you have to, every single enemy in the game, you have to sneak up behind them, hold them at gunpoint, make them shake, and then take their dog tags from them. And you have to do that on every difficulty, and every difficulty has more and more enemies on it, and it's just stupid. It's so stupid.
Ooh.
But I did get the 3 Platinum.
Well, there you go. That's not as bad. Problem. The game looks a lot more fun. I'd rather be in the jungle with bees anyways. It's all good. But that's it. That's all that I've played. And then we'll talk about Zelda 2 when we get there. Boy, I'm ready. All right, going on to our quest log then. Would you pay $200 for this remaster? I'm asking that specifically to, who was it?
That was Matt.
That's from Matt. Matt, would you pay $2,000 $2,000 for this remaster? That's from Andy Robinson at VGC. This is hot off the presses. This happened like an hour ago.
I know.
Sony Interactive Entertainment is planning to release a remaster of PS4 title Horizon Zero Dawn for PS5. That game from 2017. We're going to get a remaster already. All right, guys. That's according to a report by MP1ST, which VGC can corroborate via its own sources. So I don't care about that unnamed people I've never heard of before. VGC said that they corroborated, so that's what matters to me. The updated version of the 2017 Guerrilla Games title will feature improved visuals to bring it up to par with this year's sequel, Horizon Forbidden West, in the form of new character models, lighting animation, it's claimed. In addition, it's claimed the new version of Zero Dawn, will add accessibility features, graphic modes, and quality of life improvements to the game itself. Re-releases of recent hits aren't a new trend for PlayStation. The platform holder has already released multiple remasters and remakes for PS5, including Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, Uncharted 4, and The Last of Us. In addition, the MP1ST report claims that Guerrilla Games is currently working on a Horizon multiplayer game for PS5 and PC, which matches what VGC reported last year, and that multiplayer mode may in fact be co-op, which was supposed to be in the game, but they ended up taking it out. So here we go. I have 2 minds of this, Chad. First of all, I'm like, yo, are they really out of ideas and they just want to remaster everything because that's just what they got to do to get PS5 games out? Or that's where I'm worried. Just because the whole thing with Last of Us Part 1, however you feel about it, whatever. If this for me, here's where I'm okay. If they try to do $70, this is fucking, I'm not doing that shit again. I can literally, this game is literally, no, I'm not doing that. If this is more of a Ghost of Tsushima director's cut, if this is more of a Spider-Man remaster, just here's the PS5 features on it, I ain't got no problem with that. But we'll see when we get there, I guess. But they're doing it to all their games.
Spider-Man...
Except for, hey, where the fuck is Bloodborne at? Where the fuck is my 60 frames a second Bloodborne?
Right?
I don't give a fuck about Horizon. I saw a great tweet from Emmett over on Twitter, Emmett Watkins, and he said they're gonna fucking remaster Order 1886 before they fucking touch Bloodborne. And I'm like, I fucking bet they would. They like, hey, how about the game that people want remastered? That's the game I'd want remastered. You could give me $70 if you did a full, or just give me a PS5 version that runs better. I'd be happy. But they're like, how about Horizon again? How about you suck my dick and give me Bloodborne? How about that? Anyways.
What's wild, this I feel like is, it has to be one of two things. One, if it is just updating visuals and textures and lighting and that kind of stuff to bring it up to par with Horizon Forbidden West, like that's not a ton of difference. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, as you mentioned, came out in 2017. That's not that long ago. It was already a PS4 title. It looked great towards the end of that life cycle. Like that's not enough to justify a brand new game. But Ghost of Tsushima style, it is enough to justify like a $10 to $15 upgrade.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely. The other weird thing is that Horizon Zero Dawn already got a PS5 update. Like, it got an update before Forbidden West to run at 60 frames a second and to have new options in the settings. So I feel like to just have more accessibility options and a little bit more improved graphics, like that's not enough to justify this. The only thing that I think would justify it, in my mind, and still not $70 worth, is if they Last of Us style did a full-on remake of it in the Uncharted Forbidden West style, specifically around platforming. Like, platforming in Horizon Zero Dawn is garbage. It is the only criticism I have of that entire game, is that platforming feels terrible. It feels like I'm Skyriming and breaking shit every time I try to platform somewhere, versus the new system they implemented with Forbidden West, where it's just like, just about everything you can see an anchor point on. You can use your focus to instantly scan and see, oh, I can climb up this in a ton of different ways. But really, that's the only thing that I can think of, aside from like also allowing you to carry more materials. Like that, holding your capacity to carry materials and stuff like that was a constant struggle in that game. But yeah, this feels weird, as opposed to the Last of Us remake, which again was ground up, but it was of a PS3 game. Like there was already some texture upgrades a little bit in that PS4 remaster at the beginning of that console's life cycle. But that was like a full-on remake with brand new engine, that kind of stuff too. So I felt that was a little more justified. I don't know if I'm on board. Yeah, it has to just be like a $10 to $15 upgrade, or in the thing of Spider-Man, where maybe it's like they released the multiplayer game, or Spider-Man Miles Morales. So like you could buy the regular game for $40 or $50 or whatever, or you could pay an extra $20 and get Spider-Man remastered. And I think that's what they got to do with this. Maybe they release the multiplayer game, and if you pay an extra $10 or $15 on it, then you get the remake.
Yeah, because when they say new character models, lighting, animation, that was all. They're just going to use the exact same system for Forbidden West, because that was the whole thing. Right. Forbidden West. So like, look, it's all animated good now. They don't look stupid. But yeah, my thing again, I'm with you. If it's like a $10, if they bundle it with something else and it's $10, because like for Miles Morales and Spider-Man Remastered, no problem at all. Great, because I get a new game for my PS5, and here's the other really good game, and it's got the same improvements.
And it's likely, just like Spider-Man, going to pop another platinum trophy for me. So like, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, but if it's not my problem is that they're just doing this a lot. PlayStation's doing it a lot, which a lot of companies do this a lot. Every generation they give out remasters. But PlayStation does it with every one of their games, and then they are like, look at this is a big deal. And I'm just like, like you could just give me a free update and just have it work, but I guess I got to pay for it. But yeah, we'll see whenever it comes out. I'm with you though. Like, yeah, I honestly probably don't want to go back and play that old Horizon game. I don't care if they put new stuff to it, but I will play multiplayer.
I haven't even opened, like, it's on my PlayStation. I haven't even opened the app for Forbidden West yet. Son of a bitch! I wish I had a Second Life. I wish I had a Second Life in the game Second Life, where my Second Life character could play that game for me.
But the problem is, people like Matt keep spending $200 for these remasters, so they're just going to keep doing it. They don't
He
care.
also has not played Forbidden West either.
But he'd rather pay $200 for Last of Us, but he can't play Forbidden West.
Yeah.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. All right, next up. More PlayStation stuff. Look at us. We're moving along. One rumored, one confirmed PlayStation game coming to PC. It's from multiple stories at IGN.com. A leak has confirmed. I've actually been wanting to talk about this forever. It's a dumb tangent. We're going to talk about PlayStation games on PC. So, you remember the racist comedian Jeff Dunham, right?
Oh, yeah. All of his puppets were just a different racist
Super
puppet,
racist. I don't know if I've said this before. I might have said this, but it bothers me every time I hear it on the radio. There's a local radio guy who has a vape shop. He's got like fucking 5 or 6 of them, right? And all his commercials are real preachy. He's like, well, the government, they can tell you smoking tobacco is good, but they put a tax on vapor. Well, I tell you, the government never looked out for me. It's fucking weird. It's real weird energy. It's real preachy. But the guy ends all his commercials with magicvaporshop.com. And I was like, and he's been doing these local commercials for fucking 4 or 5 years. And I'm like, I love that you just stole something from Jeff Dunham in 2008 and refused to fucking let it go.
Oh, see, when you did that, I thought of Expedia.com. That's what I thought.
No, it's the .com. It's the lower register. It's not
okay.
It's the .com, which I believe was a Jeff Dunham. He's like, Jeff Dunham .com. And this fucking Magic Vapor Shop asshole took it and won't let it go. So he preaches at me about how fucking good vapor is compared to fucking cigarettes and the government. And then he ends it by stealing from a racist comedian from 2007. I'm like, shut the fuck up. That commercial makes me so fucking mad. I hate local commercials so fucking much. Anyways, PlayStation. A leak has confirmed PlayStation exclusive Sackboy: A Big Adventure is coming to PC October 27th, 2023. Damn, they got a date a year out? That's wild.
Damn, right?
I thought it was 2022. But
no, that can't be. I'm going to look it up while you're talking.
Double check it for me. Yeah. According to an official trailer, which seems to have been published early by Sony's Latin America YouTube account, the recent Sackboy game will be heading to PC next month. So it must be a typo.
It's 2022. Yeah.
Okay. The recent Sackboy game will be headed to PC next month after previously being only available on PS4 and PS5. The trailer also confirms that the PC version of Sackboy will support 4K, 120 frames per second, 21.9 ultra-wide monitors, NVIDIA DLSS, VRR, all the good PC stuff. An official announcement is likely to be on its way soon. So, not a big deal. Obviously, Sony's putting all their games on PC. I love how it's always a leak of fucking Instagram or fucking YouTube. It just tells us all the stuff early. But I want to get to this next part because I know you don't give a shit about Sackboy, really.
I
right?
do.
Oh, you do?
Sackboy:
Well,
A Big Adventure was like one of the most underrated launch titles on PS5. I loved that game. We played it. It was me, Holden, and Jeff and Darby from Nerds at Large, and we co-opted the whole thing. I think that was the thing that hamstrung it. Not enough people played this game because they didn't have online multiplayer at launch. It took like an extra. It had to be couch co-op, and then it took like an extra 4 or 5 weeks before the online multiplayer. So like no one bought it at launch because they weren't going to play it multiplayer. But yeah, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic game. So I'm glad more people are getting to play it.
Okay, very cool. I know most people I know about one person who's played the game and they really love it, but then no one else has ever touched it. But they're like, it's great, but no one ever played it. And it's like, well, I guess I'll take your word for it because I'm not going to play it. But it's cool. It's coming to PC.
Yeah.
And hopefully that'll have multiplayer off the bat. But this is, I think, a little bit bigger news. Returnal as well? Question mark. .com. Footage of Returnal on PC appeared to leak earlier today, seemingly confirming that Housemarque's roguelite will be joining Sony's other first-party releases on the platform. The leaked footage first appeared on Icon Era after being uploaded to YouTube, showing off options and customization of the PC version, including ray trace shadows, reflections, DLSS, and FSR. The footage was pulled by Sony not long after. Well, that tells you something. When Sony's like, pull that shit down, Assuming the footage is real, it shows that Returnal will receive significant enhancements over its PS5 release, which favored frame rate over pure visual fidelity. So, again, PC version of it. Because that is the thing, that Returnal was very smooth, but now, what if it looked pretty and was smooth? What if it was a 10 and it was smart? We've had both, I think that's
not
more exciting
both?
to me personally, just because Returnal is a very cool game. And that's cool to I just like seeing all them putting all their games on PC. You know?
Yeah. I'm curious how that one's going to control with a keyboard and mouse. Because that was the first one that like actually used the haptics, and then you had the adaptive triggers that you pull halfway for one shooting method, and then continue to pull it for another.
Oh, I turned that off immediately.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had it. I think L1 did my alternate shot. It was something I didn't do a half pull. It was another button completely.
Got it.
I don't remember what it was, but yeah. But then also you can just use your DualShock or your DualSense on your PC as well.
You can.
So that's probably the best way to do it. Good for them. Making cool stuff come to PC. Everyone be happy. Okay. More PlayStation news. This one, not as positive as the last two. Maybe it's not so bad. I just need someone. Can someone explain PlayStation Stars? From Darren Bonthouise at GameSpot. Sony's PlayStation Stars loyalty program, which is headed west in October, will offer better customer service support on the higher tier of its membership. The program has 4 tiers, and members are able to access higher tiers by earning 128 rare trophies and buying at least 4 games from the PlayStation Store as they go from the starting point of level 1 all the way to level 4, whatever. So 4 levels, the more money you give, actually not even the more money you give, is the bit. If you buy 4 games and then do a bunch of trophies, you raise in tiers. And apparently, with the level 4 membership, users will be given priority in chat when they contact customer support, according to VGC. The move has drawn criticism from PlayStation members in Japan, where the service launched this week, who say the program should offer equal customer support to anyone calling in, regardless of how much cash they spent on Sony products. And this is just about PlayStation Stars in general. In case you missed it, PlayStation Stars is Sony's new loyalty program. Players can earn digital rewards for completing campaigns, playing games, earning specific trophies. So, earning the rewards and stuff, cool, awesome.
Which are playing there. Explicitly not NFTs.
Not NFTs, guys.
Not
They're
NFTs.
Digital, but not NFTs. This customer service thing is just weird to me. I don't. It's not a thing for me personally to be upset about, but what a fucking weird thing. We're like, hey, did you have a lot of trophies? You get to go in front of everybody else when your fucking PlayStation bricks on you. Like, what? What? I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. Right now, technically, it is only stated on PlayStation Japan site, and where the PlayStation Stars does not mention that on the US site, like as a feature. So it might be something they're just testing out in Japan to see how people react to it. But as someone who just dealt with PlayStation support this week, like here's the lowdown. PlayStation support is almost non-existent anymore. Like they used to have phone support as well as chat, as well as Twitter. Like you could chat or you could tweet and get support from them there. But a few months ago, they got rid of all phone support. They got rid of you can no longer support via Twitter. It is only via chat on their website, and it is a bunch of hoops to go through in order to get there. But while you're there, here's the shitty thing that happened to me. While I was there, it's like waiting in line for there's a feature that lets you automatically upload your screen captures from your PlayStation to your app. It just wasn't there for me, so I was trying to figure out like what fucking setting do I have to turn on. And so they were like, cool, your estimated wait time is 10 to 20 minutes. I was like, fine. And I left the chat there. And there's no audio notifications with the chat. There's no, it's barely a visual notification too. So I just had my phone open, sitting on the thing in front of me. 25 minutes go by before it finally pops up. And I missed the first message. And then they said, oh, you're not responding. So try again later. Hit this link to try again later. And I hit the link. And it's like, you're back again so soon? Sorry. Try again tomorrow. I was like, what?
Tomorrow?
What? And so finally I got cheeky and just went in a private browser and did it again. I was like, no, you're talking to me today. Yeah. But it's not a good experience. It's not a good experience by far. So yeah, as someone who has bought a lot of things from the PlayStation Store and has a lot of trophies, I would welcome this priority access. And I kind of, although it does kind of feel weird, like I equate it to, I don't know if you're familiar with AMC A-List. If you're an AMC A-lister. I know what it is.
I've never had it though.
You get access, so that's like the subscription for AMC theaters. But part of it is you have a priority line when you're buying concessions. And you stand in that line and like there can be a line of 50 people and you skip all of them because you paid $20 a month. And it just every time I do it, I feel gross and weird, but also like, I paid for this priority access. And so obviously wouldn't have that same feeling with this PlayStation support because I'm not looking at all these other chat people in the face like I am the people at the theater. But it does still feel weird to me.
Yeah.
But who knows? If enough people in Japan are like, fuck this bullshit, maybe they won't bring it anywhere else.
Yeah, maybe they won't bring it over. I don't know. Yeah, because the last customer service I had was Amazon. Let me tell you, if you have Prime, first of all, it's great because you go on the website and then they like call you in fucking 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then someone is on the phone and takes care of it. And if you have Prime, they kiss your ass. They're like, what do you want? You got Prime? Fucking, I'll give you I got $10 on my wallet. I'm going to mail it to you along with your new product. Like, they just kiss your ass. So a chat only thing where that sounds rough. Yeah. Maybe improve your customer service instead of worrying about who has priority over somebody else, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyways, all right. Last story on the list. This is for you losers out there. Monster Hunter nerds have more games to play. Some Joe Screbbles at IGN.com. EA and Koei Tecmo have revealed that Wild Hearts, the Monster Hunter-like action game from Dynasty Wars developer, will arrive on February 17th, 2023.
My birthday.
I knew it was around there. This is for you, Chad. Dynasty Warriors Monster Hunter. I know you love both those things.
Oh, yeah.
In a new trailer, we got our first real glimpse of the game coming to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Extended gameplay reveal set for October 5th. Set in Azuma, effectively a fantasy feudal Japan, teams of up to 3 players will take on giant, nature-infused beasts called kimono. Is that kimono? I think kimono is with an I, right?
Right, yeah. The thing that you like part to sexually reveal yourself is called a kimono, K-I-M-O-N-O. This is K-E-M-O-N-O.
Kimonos, maybe. Using a mixture of action combat and crafting to create outlandish contraptions. Wild Hearts can be played solo or in co-op with crossplay across all platforms. Your player character will also be taken down by a winter wolf called Deathstalker before giving access to a life-sustaining technology and compelled to restore balance across the region. All right, here you go, guys. Have fun with this.
I was like, why is that already a game? Like, Wild Hearts is already, and this turns out Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Sayonara Wild Hearts, which is a rhythm game, right?
Yep. Great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about Monster Hunter, and I also don't like the Dynasty Warrior games. But I mean, I'm sure it's cool. People, again, Dauntless was a thing, which was a free-to-play Monster Hunter, which people liked. I'm sure people like it. People like Monster Hunter games. So you nerds enjoy that. Play Monster Hunter instead of, going on dates with pretty people and going to the movies. Is that what people do? Go to the movies with pretty people? Is that a date?
That's a date. Yeah.
I had someone try to talk to me about landscaping, and I almost fucking blacked out. So,
not landscaping, but landscape painting,
which is even more boring. Painting. I literally fucking was in a different realm. Anyways, that's all the stories for today. So that leaves us with 2 things, but one of those is
segment from Adam. Not talking Stadia. Stadia is dead. I tweeted that I might have a eulogy for Stadia, and I remembered that as I started singing this. So that I just 2 birds, 1 stoned it. Segment from Adam's song, as well as the eulogy for Stadia.
I like it. I appreciate that. All right. So guess what it is? It's the beginning of the month, but it also means it's the end of the month, which means it's time for the best games that came out last month.
Ooh.
So, again, this is all for Game of the Year, which we're getting very close to. It's getting that time of year, the end, and then you would vote for things. But we have here games that came out in September. And the 2 first games on here, again, I don't know how you do. I mean, we'll talk about it, but I don't include re-releases or remasters for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
So, but the first 2 games, the highest rated games for the month are Deathloop and Last of Us Part 1, both at an 89. Deathloop first coming to Xbox for the first time, and Last of Us Part 1 being a remaster of the first one, or remake. But I don't include that stuff. That's just a me thing. But then we go August 30th, so I don't think it was mentioned last time, Immortality at an 88.
Have you played that game? Do you like it?
I think I've told people to play it multiple times.
10 minutes before the podcast, I did look to see if it was on PlayStation, and it is not. Because if it was, I was just going to buy it and download it immediately to make myself play it. Yeah. It's not. So, yeah, I'll
I think
Xbox
it's just
Game
PC and Xbox. Yeah. Well, it's PC too. Well, you don't have PC. But yeah.
There's a Netflix iOS version coming. That's TBD. Right. But
one of these days.
Yep.
And then, let's see, next up, Return to Monkey Island, which is an 87.
Okay.
There you go. Very good for them. I don't know if I'll get around to that because I haven't played the old ones, but it is reviewing quite well. Excuse me. Legend of Heroes Trail from Zero. Some anime shit at an 86. I don't know if I can know what that is. Beacon Pines at an 86 as well, which is like you play weird animals and it's like a dark mystery thing.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
You reviewed well, though.
Beacon Pines?
Beacon Pines, yep. Let's see. Tinykin at an 85.
Oh, okay. Okay.
A game that I played that I was talking about. That's very good. Where is my list at? See, I'm just trying to skip over the PC only ones that like no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
Grounded, full release at an 84.
God,
I know that you
I
hate
hated that game.
It's so good. It's full release. Splatoon 3 at an 83.
God, I hated that game.
Did you never played it?
I played Splatoon 2 and I played Splatoon 1 on a Best Buy kiosk.
Same thing, basically, right?
Yep.
And then there's just like a lot of PC games on here that no one's ever heard of. But that is basically it for the month. So I would say definitely play Tinykin and definitely play Immortality. I think Tiny Kid could be on your Indie Game of the Year list. I think Immortality could be on your Indie Game of the Year list and Overall Game of the Year list, depending on how it clicks with you. I think that those are the top two. Like, for sure, check those out. And if you have $200, I guess you could buy Last of Us Part 1.
Hearing that list of things, am thankful that September had almost nothing that interests me because I have so much to catch up on. So Immortality is the only thing on there that I'm interested in, and it's only because you're forcing me to play it with your words.
Forcing you to play anything, you know? Just suggesting playing good video games, you know? Shouldn't be a big deal. Yeah. Shovel Knight did get an 81, but that was pretty low on the list from there. Not interested in Tinykin, huh?
No, it's one of those like strategy platformer. Like Pikmin never interests me either.
Oh, it's definitely Pikmin. It's definitely
it puzzles, strategy, that kind of shit. And it's fine. I can recognize them as good games, but they're not my jam.
Okay, very good. Well, that's the segment from Adam because that's everything above an 80. So, Immortality,
nice.
winner of the
Immortality, do it, me. It's time for Game On Game Show. The game on our game show. We play a game called Game On. The game show on our game show. Game. Adam.
Yes.
It's been about 5 weeks.
1 week since you looked at me.
Been 1 week times 5 since we played this game. It's called Guess What Happened This Week. This is a game where we look back at gaming history this week in time, and I give you clues based on what came out. Could be hardware, could be software, could be personware, and you try to guess what it is based on my clue. So I've got 5 here. I will give you the date that it came out, and I will give you a clue, and you try to guess. Are you ready for Guess What Happened This Week?
Yep.
All right. October 2nd, today, 1997. Whoa. Rewind 25 years.
Johnny Tsunami was fresh on Disney Channel.
Once you get to the end of this genre-defining game, you're only halfway there. Now you get to put your thing down, flip it, and reverse it.
Oh, I like that reference. I didn't realize that was just what she said before reversed. I had no fucking idea as a kid.
Oh, I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, when she said down, flip it, everything you just said, it's literally that exact part, but reversed. Flipped and reversed.
All right.
On another level, playing fucking 4D chess in the 90s. But that is Castlevania. I don't remember which one it is. I know it's a Castlevania game. 2?
It is Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Symphony of the Night.
Yes,
okay, gotcha.
Yes,
I knew it was a Castlevania.
Yeah, you'll get a point for that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Next up, October 4th, 1997. 2 days later, after you've put your thing down, flipped it, and reversed it. Speaking of flipping it and reverse it, Europeans can finally do barrel rolls.
Star Fox 64.
That is correct.
In Europe, of course.
Yep, absolutely. Star Fox 64 releases in Europe. Do a barrel roll.
Barrel roll. I know I'm talking a lot today because I'm in a mood. So Star Fox was pretty cool. I like the idea. We're animals in space shooting stuff. I hate that the fucking frog's name is Slippy. Oh, it always bothered me. Slippy the Toad. Oh, that's so fucking gross. You have no idea.
Slippy. Let me slip my long tongue over there and my webbed feet on your. Okay. I don't know. I mean, the rest weren't. Falco was cool as shit.
Falco's
the name.
cool.
He was an asshole. I didn't like the character.
Yeah. I'm talking about the
Peppy
names.
is stupid. Peppy the donkey. What?
Yeah, but that's not like offensive to my ears.
Yeah, Slippy.
Slippy
the Toad. These next three are all on October 6th.
Okay.
October 6th, 1970, Adam.
Oh.
It's a long time. That's 52 years ago.
Yeah.
On this date, he escaped uterine captivity and saw the world for the first time. And he promptly said, I'm going to make janky brown games that are beloved by many.
Janky Brown Games? Who makes Janky Brown Games? Who's 52 years old?
That are beloved by many.
Yeah. Who makes Brown Games? Fuck. Vince Zampella.
No, that was a good guess.
Because those early Call of Duty games were all brown.
Lean into the janky.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
If you can think of like a game dev who makes janky shit that people love.
Well, you're being a hater. The colors are completely wrong. Is this Todd Howard, perhaps?
This is Todd Howard. Todd Howard was born on October 6, 1970.
I love how it's always like, escaped his mother's birthing canal on this day in 1970. It's like, all right.
All right. Again, same day, October 6th, 1990. I was only 6 months old at this point.
I wasn't born yet.
Nice. Sega
I was
released.
about to escape my mother's birthing canal.
Sega released this device to help you quickly suck the life out of up to 6 AA batteries at once.
Sega Game Gear?
That is the Sega Game Gear, launched in Japan on October 6, 1990.
You always talk about fucking Game Gear. Like, I've never heard anyone talk about the Game Gear more than you.
That was the thing, is that like I had a Game Gear as a kid. Well, I also had a Game Boy. But yeah, I was the one in the family with a Game Gear, playing all those shitty Sonic games.
Why don't you just play the Game Gear like every other normal kid? Or the Game Boy, excuse me.
I did. After the 15 minutes of playing the Game Gear when the batteries died on the road trip.
Yeah. Okay.
I had the Game Gear, and then I had, like, there was a giant capsule the size of like a baked potato that was an external battery pack that you carry around for it. And I had that. So that in total gave me about 20 minutes of playtime.
Fucking wild.
Or Game Gear, of course, didn't have a way to save things. It was all password based if it had any save at all, because none of the cartridges had batteries in them. And of course, as a kid, you lose the back that holds the batteries in immediately.
Yeah.
So my batteries are just held on with duct tape sometimes. So if I was playing the Game Gear and I'm playing the game and one of the batteries just kind of like pops out a little bit if we go over a speed bump or like I shake it or something like that, then there goes my whole progress in that game. I've played the first levels of that Spider-Man Sinister Six game so many times. All right, final one. October 6th, 2009.
Okay.
PlayStation believed so little in this game that it let Atlas publish it in the West. And then it defined a whole genre beloved by frothing masochists everywhere.
So this is related to the story earlier, talking about remaking and remasters. Like, someone on Twitter was like, I can't wait for Demon's Souls Remake Remaster coming out in 3 years or whatever. But yeah, this is Demon's Souls.
This is Demon's Souls, yep.
I remember
something new.
Being at GameStop. I don't remember if I worked at GameStop or yet at this point. I think I was working at maybe UPS and GameStop, whatever it was. I did, back in that day, I had a dude come up to me and talk about how cool Demon's Souls was before people were into Souls games. And he was that guy. And he can his claim to fame right now is that he was into From Software games before anyone else was. You know, every From Software fan says that, and regardless of when they jumped in, because they have to be the cool kids. But he was actually into it for anybody. He was like, there's this game, it's real hard, called Demon's Souls. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Chad. His name was also Chad.
I was going to say, today, that man is Joe Biden.
Yeah. That man is president of the United States. But he was like, man, this super hard game, it's only on PlayStation, and you have to go online to figure it out. I'm like, that sounds like fucking garbage. And 20 years later, I still think that part of the game was garbage. So, anyways.
Yeah. I don't know why I picked up that game. I don't remember
Just randomly got
what
Demon
I
Souls one
saw,
day.
but yeah,
You're probably looking for like best PS3 exclusives, and it was like a list of 3 games, and that was on there.
Yep, probably.
It's like Uncharted, the fucking Warhawk, and fucking Demon Souls.
Warhawk. I forgot about Warhawk. That's it. That's it for Game on Game Show, and that is it for our podcast. You have
you're gonna have
homework.
to tell me this last part, by the way. You're gonna tell. I haven't looked at the vote.
It is technically, because I just posted it yesterday because I forgot about it forever.
More time.
Yeah, it is up until Tuesday. So our BARF poll, backlog accomplishment with Respawn and Friends, our BARF poll is up through Tuesday, which is when the on-demand version of this posts, at 6 p.m. Eastern time. That's the cutoff for the poll. It has gotten a lot of traction so far compared to our last few months. So there are a lot of votes. And the last time I checked, hold on. Let me actually go to Patreon, unless I'm not logged in on this computer, in which, okay, I am. Good. Okay, so here it is so far. Fuck, I did the wrong Tuesday. It has 9 days left, but we're gonna cut it off on.
Just change it. Yeah, you can change
we're gonna cut it off on Tuesday. Right now, it is all Spookytober games. It is all vampire-related games. Games that feature a vampire as a main character, as other characters, whatever. So it's between Super Castlevania 4, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, Vampire with a Y.
It's Vampire.
I don't know if it's pronounced Vampire or Vampire, but
it is.
The one
it's
with a Y. Okay. And Night Trap. So far, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, and Super Castlevania 4 are like neck and neck. Kain has one extra vote, so it's anyone's game right now. Neck and neck.
By the way, I love how you put Night Trap on here, and then I had to Google Night Trap. I'm like, there's fucking vampires in Night Trap? Because I know of Night Trap, but I never played it. And I'm like, yeah, there's fucking augurs and fucking... That's what the main thing is.
I was just Googling, like, best vampire games. And Night Trap was on there, and I was like, all right.
Cool, there you go.
So, yeah, that's that will be our barf game for the month of October. And if you're thinking, like, what the hell does that mean? Does that mean it's a bad game and you want to throw up? Well, just because the last few have been bad games doesn't mean that they're always bad games. They're just older or classic or like games we wish we would have played or something like that. And our patrons over at patreon.com/respawn-aim-fire get to vote on what we play each month. And then we talk about it at the end of the month. Speaking of, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. That's going to be going live this week, so keep an eye out for that. If you would like to be involved with the October one, let us know. Send us a little boopy-doopy-doop. We'll read it on the show. Or send us a ring-a-ring-a-ring, and we'll say, hey, what's up? You want to come on the show with us? And you'll be like, you called me. And I'll be like, yeah. Can we get a pizza? And you're like, this is a Wendy's, sir. Like, all right, can I get a baked potato and a cup of chili? Yeah. Can you have it ready when I get there? It's ready now. Okay.
I have it ready when I get there.
So yeah, do that and we'll have you on the show. It'd be great. Along with getting Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jr. It's about time. We got to do a spooky wallpaper. I'll think of something spooky to do.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. That's it. That's your homework for the week. Anything else we got to tell the kids?
I think that's it.
Well, go play Immortality. Is Immortals? Immortality?
I'm not going to keep saying it.
Immortal? Okay. Go play Immortals Phoenix Rising.
You can do that too.
Until next time, here's our usual sign off. I'm a pretty princess. Easy work.